Have you ever thought about how delicious strawberry cheesecake ice cream is from Ben and Jerry's? I hope I'm right. I hope it's strawberry cheesecake. Well, anyways, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of the FVI, where I get to review a wonderful first volume or one shot, and you get to hear my first opinions, my first thoughts about the story, the characters, and the art. It has been so long, everybody. Like, I haven't recorded in like a month. It's probably been over a month now. But the reason is because one, so I moved. So all of my manga is in a entirely new area. I have new bookshelves and other things, and they're all displayed in a different spot. And then right after I moved, I went on vacation. It was great. It was a good vacation, except for I got the big old spooky virus. So I've been out of commission for around 10 days, and it's been absolutely awful. And so it's just kind of like been like a nonstop avalanche of just things causing me to not be able to record, and just kind of feeling like, oh, this was a nice break. Honestly, like, it wasn't ideal. It wasn't the ideal break, but we're here now, and we're going to do a really cool review on a series that I finally started, and will definitely have some people smiling and being happy that I finally checked it out. And now you get to hear my opinions on it. So let's get started. Let's go! Alright, so this series, originally published by, I believe it was Shueisha in August 2014, and released to the English readers in June of 2017 for the first volume. This is an amazing series that I'm sure a lot of people are going to know, like I already mentioned, and that is Golden Kamuy. This is Volume 1, story and art by Satoru Noda, and I'm going to start doing this now, where I'm actually going to discuss, or going to mention all the people who worked on this for the English release. So for this specific volume, we have translation by Eiji Yasuda, touch-up art and lettering by Steve Dutro, design by Izumi Evers, and editor by Mike Montesa. I'm doing this now because I feel like they don't really get enough credit for what they do. They do a ton of work to be able to bring these works to English, and I wanted to show my appreciation for it. So thank you guys so much. Thank you everybody who worked on this volume and for the entire series, because you've done a fantastic job. Now, let's get into the cover. So the cover design, I actually really like it. It kind of tells you what you're going to get into. This is going to be an action series. It might be kind of weird because there's just a giant explosion behind this dude, who you come to find out is the main character, which is unsurprising why he'd be on the front. And you get this really sick drawing of a bear on the back. Or at least I think that's a bear. Yeah, so that's a really cool design. And then the cover, like the spine, not my favorite, because I'm not a big fan of like the bronze kind of gold coloring that they used here, but I do like the font that they use for the Golden Kamuy logo, and the star is kind of cool, and then of course having the main character here as well is good. So overall, yeah, not my favorite cover design, but it's good. It's good. I'll take it. It's good. Now, let's get into some of the story. So, our main character here, his name is Sugimoto. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Yes, Saichi Sugimoto. So, he has just exited the war for the Russo-Japanese War, which is an actual war that occurred between Japan and Russia in the 1900s. Go look it up. It's pretty interesting to like look and research on it. But, so our main character here, he has just exited the war. And you come to find out that like some things happen, and now he's basically poor, has no money to work with, so he's trying to find a way to get rich quick. So he's panning for gold in the beginning, and he finds an old man's with him, and the old man gets drunk and starts discussing about this old tall tale about this like guy who basically murdered a bunch of miners and stole a bunch of gold and hid it, and he got captured, arrested, and they attempted to get it out of him, but he would never say. So he ended up supposedly tattooing all of these people with a map, and the map, if you put it all together, creates like a cipher, and you use the cipher to find the gold. However, all of those people have escaped and have disappeared, and supposedly, yeah, that's what happened. So Sugimoto's like, well, that's kind of weird, I don't believe that. But he starts to like chase after the old man, and he finds that the old man is murdered, but he has some of the map on his back. So he's like, oh crap, this story is actually kind of real. So it's all about this like crazy conspiracy about like this giant stash of gold that no one seems to know where it is, and it's really interesting. Honestly, I think the story is pretty cool. The first volume really builds the world well and builds the story up well, and you get to learn a lot about the main character pretty quickly, actually. I mean, you're probably going to learn more, of course, as you go throughout the series, but this was a nice start. So, let's go into our three main characters that I'm going to talk about. And so, first one is Saichi Sugimoto. Like I mentioned, his nickname is, I believe he's the Immortal, because he has a really high pain resistance, and this dude is insane. Literally in the first like couple pages, he gets like shot in the neck, and he's just going up and beating the crap out of people, and it's so cool. So overall, just a really interesting character. His motivation for what he does is actually, I think, genuinely nice. Nothing, too crazy, but I think it's like special, and you really feel for the character. He's really cool. After that, we got our first female lead, and that's going to be Asurpa. She's an Ainu girl that you meet in, I think, either the late first chapter or in the second chapter, but she's really resourceful, she's really smart, she really knows like the way of the land. Overall, she's an awesome character. I think she's great. I'm really excited to see how her character grows throughout the series. She is related to some of the things that occur, the events that led up to this like hiding of the gold and everything, so that's kind of interesting that it all ties together in that way, so that's nice. And overall, yeah, I think she probably is my favorite character. I really like Sugimoto, he's great, but like Asurpa is wonderful, like she's so good. After that, I'm going to introduce one of the characters that shows up towards the end of this volume, and that's going to be Shiraishi Yoshitake. He's I would say he's probably one of the more main characters. I see him a lot in the art and stuff. So, if people want to go and be like, he's not actually a main character, I mean, go for it. But in my opinion, he seems like he's going to be really important. But he's known as the Escape King, or the Escape Thief, or something like that. And he's just like, he is, you could tell is going to be the comedy relief, even though there's already a lot of comedy within the story. But he's a very funny character. And manages to pull off like this like ridiculous way of escaping the first time he gets captured. I'm not going to say how or why, but overall, just a great time. And, to wrap up all the characters, those three are great, and all the side characters are great too, and all the villains that show up within the first volume are also decent. I'm not going to talk about them too much, so just go on and check it out and read it yourself. So you can get your idea of how these characters are, but you can tell there's going to be a lot of backstabbing, a lot of ruthlessness. It's going to be very interesting, and I'm very excited to check it out. But to summarize it, I would say the story is very good. There are definitely a lot of funny moments in the first volume, a lot of great action moments, and some emotional moments too, which is great. I think it has a nice mix of kind of everything, so I think it builds well into what's going to happen later in the series. So hopefully I'm right. I guess if someone's read the entire series, you can go and tell me if I'm wrong or not. But just from first impressions of this first volume, that's how I feel. Now, let's get on to the art. Alright, now let's talk about the art. So, if you didn't know, I've watched the first couple episodes of the anime, so I kind of knew what I was going to get into in terms of the art style for the most part. Of course, the anime is a little bit more updated with how Satoru Noda has grown as an artist, but honestly, for the first volume, it's not too bad. I really enjoy a lot of the character designs. I think the environments are gorgeous, as you can see, really nice spreads across the board, and you can tell that Satoru Noda really wanted to display how these characters actually would have dressed within a historical sense. I think the Ainu character Serpa is designed well, and I would say designed mostly accurately from what I can tell in terms of reading information about this. Is that Satoru Noda really tried to be as historically accurate as possible, which I really commend. Now, talking about it across in general, there are definitely some interesting shots. For the first volume, you could tell they're really learning, Satoru Noda's really figuring it out as a main series. But overall, this is just absolutely gorgeous art. Great animal design, or great animal accuracy, which I think is really cool. A lot of the bears are really well drawn. There are some kind of spoilers in here, so I'm gonna try to avoid it. But there are definitely also some really funny shots in general. Across the board, some of the looks are really funny. A lot of the facial expressions are pretty great. just overall, yeah, just I'm very impressed by the art. I think it definitely gets a lot of praise for a good reason, and like yeah, like just to point out one of like the funny parts is like this part where he's punching the bear in the face and it does like absolutely nothing, and it's just I don't know, it's just like really well done. I really enjoy this series in terms of its art. I think the art definitely grows as Satoru Noda grows as well. Of course, you've probably seen some of the shots and some of the other compositions, some of the other drawings of like a bunch of just big muscly dudes doing big muscly dude things, and there's not a lot in this volume. I think that like starts to build up later in the series, which is great. I can't wait. I'm excited. But overall, yeah, I would give this art a good like A+. I think this is a really good start for Satoru Noda, and I just know it gets better. So honestly, kudos. That's like really good for a first volume. Now, coming into the final thoughts, I would say Golden Kamuy is I won't say it's a must pick up, because I think that some of it is very violent and very gory. There's a lot of very like not aggressive, but like there are definitely parts that are gonna make you be like, ugh. Like if you're really scared of blood or gore or like anything that has to do with like animals being killed or people being killed, I would say stay away from this. This is a very violent series. You could tell in the first volume there is going to be a lot of violence just across the board. So if that's not your thing, I would say avoid it. But if you're into any kind of like war dramas or like historical fiction or anything kind of like that, even a little bit of like some kind of supernatural stuff or like some kind of like I wouldn't say like magic, but like definitely some interesting things that are imbued in here, I would say give this a shot. This series looks like it's going to be a great time, and of course it is highly successful. It made it through 6 years of publication. I think it just ended, or not 6 years, it's actually 8 years, because I think it just ended a couple months ago in Japan, so we're catching up in English, which is great. Super excited to keep collecting for the series, and yeah. Did you read Golden Kamuy Volume 1, or have you read Golden Kamuy before? Please let me know in the comments below, and let me know what you think of the series, or if you really feel like actually going to go read it now, because I've given you some insight on it. It'd be great to know. I would love to see what you guys think about Golden Kamuy. And you know what to do. You can like, you can comment, you can favorite, and you can subscribe. Or if you made it to this part of the video, honestly, thank you so much, because yeah, it means a lot that you even decided to watch this far in. So really appreciate it. Yeah, that's going to be the end of this episode of the FVI, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.